here into the air go the Global Stars. Mixed fleet of aerobatic aircraft. An X-52 and a would-be Cat 2. They've flown in the UK, they've flown in mainland Europe, they've flown in China, they've flown in Australia, they've flown in a host of other countries. In fact, they've already undertaken 2 display visits to China this year alone. And that's the reason why the 4 aircraft are in dissimilar colour schemes, because a couple of their regular aircraft are still on the boat back from China to the UK. I was told earlier that as of now they've probably reached Hamburg. But for now they've had to pull a couple of other aeroplanes in to step into the breach. The first of their Chinese visits this year was to make a film for Chinese television to mark the opening of a bridge between Hong Kong and Zhuhai and Macau, which is the longest bridge in the world at 55 kilometers. Must remember that for the pub quiz. And then 3 weeks ago they were back in China, in Zhengzhou, with the Aero Superbatics wing walkers we saw earlier as part of a 5-day aerial extravaganza. Now, here they come in towards us to start their display. One of the aircraft demonstrating the team's characteristic dotty smoke. Here they come, the 2018 Global Stars. Mark Jeffries is the formation leader for today. Mike Pickin, the number 2, on his right. Steve Carver, number 3, on Mark's left. And making up the box formation, the number 4 today, is Chris Heames. Out of that initial loop, into a wing over, out to the right. And pulling up for another loop. Now you can see the dotty smoke in action on the 2 outboard aircraft in the formation, and that effect is created by way of Wi-Fi. The 2 aircraft able to communicate with each other through that Wi-Fi and thus synchronize the smoke. And out of that into another wing over. All 4 massively accomplished display pilots, whether solo or in formation, and a great deal of competition aerobatic experience amongst them. Up for a barrel roll. And this, in case you don't know, is so named because the aircraft traced the outline of the inside of an imaginary barrel in the sky. Mark Jeffries, the team leader, the operator of Little Granston Farm and Aerodrome near St Neots. He's the team's founder and manager. Has flown many warbirds. He's very accomplished, particularly in Yakovlev aircraft, which he's imported to the UK for many years. He's got more than 3,000 flying hours in his logbook in excess of 130 types. He's a 10-time British aerobatic champion at all levels, and he's represented Britain at international competition level 10 times as well. On his right wing, Mike Pickin, the youngest member of the team. He's aged 27. He's a first officer on the Boeing 757. There's another family link with him from the UK Civil Aviation Authority for aerobatic and formation flying. Now Mark Jeffries has broken away. He's rolling around the smoke of the main formation. Mike Pickin, the right-wing man that I was just talking about, earned his place on the British aerobatic team aged just 18. He was the youngest ever winner of the Advanced Standard National Championship at just 23, and youngest team member and silver medalist at unlimited competition level the following year. Up in front of us, round a loop, turning back back in towards us. Now with Mark Jeffries taking up the slot position in the four-ship formation at the back of the box. And so there's the separation into two pairs. And in towards us, we've now got one inverted, one the right way up. As they lazily pull up. In today's display, the man who was on the left of the main four-ship formation, Steve Carver. Until recently, he was a commercial pilot, type rating instructor and examiner and instructor tutor on the Embraer 145 regional jet. To refer back to the Air Training Corps with which you could take your first steps in aviation, he started flying on the de Havilland Chipmunk with the Air Cadets in the mid-1970s and did his first solo with the Air Cadets as well in one of their gliders. For many years, Steve was a maths teacher alongside his career as a commercial pilot on first the turboprop Saab 340 and then the jet-engined Embraer 145. He's now a freelance simulator instructor and examiner, as well as spending an increasing amount of time devoted to aerobatic flying. He began in the competition and display aerobatic world in 2000. That year he was the British national champion at intermediate level. He's been a silver medalist at advanced level, a bronze medalist at unlimited. And away from display flying, he likes doing conservation work, volunteering with the Derbyshire Wildlife Trust. But now here's another master of solo aerobatics, Mark Jeffries, with a bit of individual work in the extra EA300L. Mark's normal mounted extra EA330, like the one we saw being flown by the French Air Force earlier today, but because that's still on its way back from China, he's reverted to the 300 horsepower low-wing 300L. Now his three colleagues running in for Mark to rejoin, but not before he's done a bit more rolling around their smoke. Number 4 in the team, Chris Heames, joined the lineup last year. He too started out in the Air Cadets and built up to becoming a fully fledged RAF fighter pilot on the English Electric Lightning, the McDonnell Douglas Phantom and the Panavia Tornado. He all through that time did a lot of glider flying. Indeed, for a time he was the RAF's chief gliding instructor. 12,500 hours of flying experience to Chris's name, just under half of which is in RAF fast jets. And he is now in the lead of the formation, with Mark Jeffries again taking up position as the box man at the back. In for what they call the slanty loop. Might also call this an oblique loop, a loop basically laid on its side. Interesting to see a mixture of aircraft types in the formation. They regularly have 2 caps and 2 extras. We mentioned the Extra family earlier when we saw the Equipe de Voltige aeroplane going through its paces, the brainchild of German aerobatic pilot and aircraft engineer Walter Extra. Auguste Moudry, the man behind the Moudry Cap family of aircraft, built in France, hugely successful also at international competition level. And the Cap 232, as we see, being flown by Mike Pickin in this formation. One of the past mounts of the French Air Force Equipe de Voltige. And I'm very glad that the sky has gone this lovely shade of blue at this stage of the display, because we're coming up to their grand finale. Tipping in towards us once again. And from that turn at Crowd Centre, they'll be positioning for the ending of their display, and it's an ending with a real flourish. Pulling up and rolling left and separating, as you can see, into two pairs. Mark Jeffries and Mike Pickin will be on the left as we look at them. Chris Heames and Steve Carver on the right. Both pairs pulling up to draw two hearts.